Coming up right now, a Brazilian woman wheels a lifeless elderly man into a bank to co-sign on a loan. Why fraud charges are the least of her worries.
Also coming up, the wild response a student in Chicago has to an armed robber when he goes in for the steal.
And a little bit later on, plastic surgeons have a new warning about a certain face taking over Hollywood. We'll explain.
Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
I'm Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. Correspondent Matt Doolittle hanging around with us and getting ready for the big honeymoon.
1 week away, and we have watched every video possible on what to do in Greece. And the one thing is, everybody says, just get ready to eat. So I just lost all this wedding weight, and now I'm just going to put it on when I go back over there. But I know it's going to be worth
Listen, I want to be honest with you guys. Matt sent me his outfit that he's going to wear. I can't even show you it.
No.
Did you ever see that picture of Sean Connery in the singlet?
No.
You ever seen that? All right, well, Google it, and that's Matt Doolittle. But he's gonna.
What he's wearing on his honeymoon in Greece?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speedos are okay, right?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm doing it for
Speedos
Scarlet
are
Night.
involved.
We're doing the Virgin Cruise, and they have this big party at night.
Oh,
So
okay.
she bought us matching octopus shirts, and I bought the trousers. Just
Hey Matt,
Travis
it's
picture. And
best if you just.
It's the
stop
last thing
right
you
now.
thought you'd see when you open your phone.
No,
the other
that was
day.
the thing. And yeah, my thing was, why are you sending me this? That was funny.
I don't even want to know.
I want to see at the event. I want to see you wearing that outfit.
Oh, my goodness.
It'll probably make an appearance on
Will
the show.
there be pictures?
Oh,
There
for
better
sure.
be.
I
Okay.
have no shame.
So are you going to one particular island, or are you just going to several on the cruise?
It's the Mediterranean, and then we go into a different port, different cities, like
nice.
Mykonos, Athens, every day, a couple days at sea.
You'll fit right in Mykonos wearing
yeah.
that outfit, for sure.
That should be your last name. Just tell them
Yeah.
your last name's Matt Mykonos.
Mykonos, I like it.
When you wear that outfit, they'll believe it.
Oh yeah, that's what
You
I'm gonna
guys
do.
have heard sayings like, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse,
Yeah.
happy as a clam, cat got your tongue.
All these animal references.
Have you ever wondered where they came from?
Yeah.
Okay, so cat got
That
your
is
tongue is
interesting,
kind
yeah.
of interesting. The popular saying often used in the form of a question like, are you not saying something when you're supposed to? Well, some theories as to where this saying came from. During the Middle Ages, people who did not tell the truth had their tongues cut out and their tongues were fed to the king's cats.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's where cat got your tongue got its start.
Okay.
There you
terrifying.
go. Different
wow.
kind of, put a pause on
Not
things.
gonna look at my cat the same now. I'll be like, your
I
ancestors
didn't
ate
realize they
people
like
tongues.
tongues. then.
I didn't either. Let's see.
About
Happy
the
as a
horse.
clam.
Clam, yeah, sure.
Yeah, happy as a clam. Let's see. Here
They
we go.
come out with pearls, don't they? Maybe
They
that's why.
do.
They just pass.
No origin is confirmed, but many people think the expression is used without thinking. You're happy as a clam. Some theories suggest the phrase was originally longer, as in happy as a clam at high tide.
At high tide.
Yeah.
'Cause all they have to do is sit there and
Just
everything comes
take
out.
everything. Yeah, everything comes
like
to
that.
them. Yeah.
All right, we're going to go kick off this show here with some trending news. One of the most bizarre stories of the day. First off, the video could be a little disturbing. I want to show you what happened. A woman brought a 68-year-old man, he's in a wheelchair, into a bank into Brazil. Now, she was trying to get him to sign off on a loan for her. The only problem? He's been dead for hours.
Wow.
Police say that the woman wheeled the dead man into the bank and asked the teller to give her $3,200. She's seen in the video surveillance holding the pen in his hand as if to help him sign a bank slip. The bank staff decided, well, we're going to call cops. That's when the head of the man kept falling back.
Oh, my
The woman was arrested soon
goodness.
after, had the elderly man's corpse taken away. Her lawyer tried to argue that the man died at the bank. But the coroner put his time of death several hours earlier in the day. That's just, it's sad to see that. And it also shows you what people will do for money. But wow, they caught on camera too. I mean, if you're going into a bank, there's going to be cameras.
The old, he died while signing it at the bank.
He died at banker's hours.
Weekend
which
at
is actually-
Bernie's is not a documentary. I always wondered, I'm like, wouldn't that not work out after a few days?
It starts smelling after a while,
Oh
too.
my goodness. It's just very, very traumatic.
That's horrible,
thinking about
though.
that. Just, oh my goodness. Well, one video shows a student in Chicago fighting back against an armed robber. You can see her actually take the magazine right out of the gun to stop the gunman in his tracks, while others nearby appear to do nothing. The 21-year-old was one of 3 students from the university held at gunpoint that day.
Wow.
Video shows her fighting with the suspect as people just pass on by. Just 5 minutes before
Look
she
at
was
this guy.
robbed, 2 other students walking on opposite sides of the street were confronted by 4 armed suspects who robbed them before driving away. The university said all the students who were threatened by the robbers were unharmed. No word on whether the gunman had been caught. This happens in Chicago.
Well, all right. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
And you saw the guy just sitting there watching it. You know, there's things that are instilled in some people's minds that, you know, at first it's fight or flight, but they see something, they just do it, they react.
Yes.
But to see this guy, if you watch that video, we'll have it again on our website, he didn't even flinch. The guy was just sitting on that green thing.
What a dope. Like, at least run. I'd have more respect if you ran away at least.
I guess my question is that so commonplace in Chicago that people just see it and they just don't think twice about it?
They don't want to get involved.
don't
I
wanna
would
get
think
involved,
it is. Yeah.
yeah.
I think it had something
Yeah.
to do with it. And I don't think it was a great idea to fight back either.
No.
But there's some people that, again, I go back to the fight or flight. No, they're not. They're going to fight. And that's what's instilled inside of them. So while she might be considered a hero, the guy just sitting there watching, at least yell,
big
say something.
zero.
Yeah, yeah. Do something.
Yeah, at least get on the phone and call 911 or make an effort
Yell.
to try and help the woman.
So many
Yeah.
things you can do. We've been talking about this Ozempic. Well, Hollywood now is actually experiencing a new trend that plastic surgeons are actually calling the Ozempic face. Now, they claim the look actually features sunken eyes, gaunt cheeks, saggy skin, often making a celebrity appear a little older, a little bit maybe deflated. Surgeons analyzed 71-year-old actor John Goodman. Now, the Roseanne star, he's lost nearly 200 pounds. That's nearly half of his heaviest weight since 2007. Goodman has denied taking Ozempic or any other trendy weight loss drug and said that he dropped the pounds the traditional way with diet, exercise, and actually cutting out the booze. Experts say Ozempic face is actually less obvious in women because they're more likely to cover up facial flaws with fillers and makeup.
Yeah.
However, they did call out Sharon Osbourne, who lost nearly 50 pounds with Ozempic. They say her eyes and cheeks look more hollow. Doctors say when you lose weight in your face, it can show more wrinkles and even aging. The same can be said about Jessica Simpson. She looks quite different. There she is right there. And look, I mean, you could tell her lips look bigger to me, but I could see the sunken eyes situation.
Yeah, so we want to hear your thoughts on this, dailyflashshow.com, and tell us what you think about Ozempic face. There's a saying when it comes to women and getting older, it's either your butt or your face. So if you're a little heavier and you got more booty, that means you got more fat in your face and there are fewer lines and wrinkles. So if you lose a lot of weight when you get older, it tends to make you look more drawn, more wrinkly. Because, you know, if you're heavier on the heavier side, you're more plump
That's
everywhere.
true. No, I know exactly what you're saying. And to take John Goodman, you know, I lost half my body weight, so I get that. And I would get that. People say I look sick or whatever. It's just because you're not used to seeing. You know, my eyes did look, you know, a little more sunken in. And your skin, especially when you lose weight really fast, it'll droop down. And then as you get older, the resilience isn't there anymore. So, I mean, I could see that, but I'm sure, by all means, they'll take the sunken eyes over being heavy any day of the week. If somebody can attest to that for sure. And by the way, didn't they I looked at your butt for some reason.
It's okay.
But you made reference to it. That's
I
fine.
did, yes.
But weren't they like taking the fat from butts and putting it in face for like fillers and
Yes,
stuff? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So I was
Oh,
right
yeah.
on that. All
Of
right.
course.
So you really have a butt face if you
Yeah.
think about that.
Butterface.
Butterface. Ellen DeGeneres, she's returned to her stand-up roots. The former talk show host took to the stage at Largo in Los Angeles to perform a surprise set. She's 66 years old. She joined an all-star lineup at the event, including Adam Sandler and Sarah Silverman. I love her. DeGeneres arrived at LA venue with her wife, Portia de Rossi. The clip showed the couple hopping out of the car and DeGeneres throwing her hands up and yelling, "We are here!" Or "Here we are," rather. DeGeneres did not confirm whether her surprise performance was part of a full comeback to stand-up, but usually they go and try out new jokes like that. So,
Very true.
it probably happens.
Well, check this one out. A British sheep farmer said she found a surprising solution for curbing the aggression of her rams. Axe body spray.
Oh, get out of here.
Yep, Sam Bryce, who raises sheep in England, said it was other farmers in a Facebook group called Ladies Who Lamb who told her about the spray. They suggested Lynx is the best version. They claim it masks the hormones that cause rams to become aggro toward one another. Bryce says since she started using it, there's been very little attitude and a lot more gratitude.
But they stink. That's the only
Yeah,
bad thing.
you smell like a kid that just hit adolescence.
Yeah.
Because I know, because I used to use it in middle school.
Yeah, and they drive around in those three-wheeled motorcycles you see everywhere with loud music playing.
All named Chad.
That's interesting that it works.
The Axe body spray.
Yeah, and hey, if it works, they've found all kinds of things that decide it does better doing something else. So here's the Axe body spray and Rams.
Lynx.
Stand apart. Yeah, indeed.
Try the Lynx version.
Yeah, try that. We got more Flash coming up right around the corner. Trendy news and entertainment. Stick around.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. Our next guest is Melissa Cade Garcia, and she has a new book out called The Reality of Rejection. In the book, she talks about how the sharp pain of rejection can often leave people in shock and fear, but there are ways to work through it. Please welcome Melissa to Daily Flash. Hey, Melissa.
Hi there. How are you? Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure to have you. Whether it's a relationship or even a career rejection, it's all painful. You have 3 steps on how to deal with it. Let's start with the first step. You say acknowledge your emotions.
Yes, we need to acknowledge our emotions, and I'll start by this. Humans were created for connection. So when rejection happens, the opposite of connection, there is, a pain, discomfort that comes along. And often we experience those first as children, and we don't know what to do as a 3-year-old, when that disconnect happens. So our soul begins to create self-defense mechanisms to kind of divert that. And so we're functioning on these emotions that our soul has built up through childhood. We don't even really realize it. So we suppress all of these things. And so when it rears its head in adulthood, we have to acknowledge the discomfort. We have to acknowledge the emotion. And I call that the power of self-connection, and it'll change your life. So we live in a society where people tend to suppress or overreact.
Sure.
And neither of those things get us anywhere. So we want to really stop and explore the emotion as opposed to ignore the emotion.
And that brings us to your second point where you say reflect and learn from it.
Yes. So I do believe that emotions are important, but they should not dictate our lives. We need to pay attention to them. I consider them data for the soul. So you simply
nice.
want to you want to step back instead of reacting, because what we normally do is our self-defense mechanisms subconsciously they shoot up to protect us, and we want to react. And that can have us fly into a fit of rage. It could have us have our own little pity party. It could have us put up a wall. That's reacting. We want to respond. You want to stop, and you want to take a step back, and you want to think about what you're feeling. And really the goal is to get to the root of why you're angry. We know the feeling, but why are you feeling that way? That's the bottom line of it. We want to respond instead of reacting.
And you also say your third tip here is to cultivate resilience and self-compassion.
Yes. And so a couple of things here. This happens outside of the first 2 steps, where, you're going to have to come to the realization that whatever rejection you faced as a child that is trying to protect you now has no significance on your worth. And also the other realization is that, when rejection does happen, it has nothing to do with us. And it's often comes from the state of mind of the rejecter or their perspective. So we have to learn that it really never was about us. That's the first thing. And then the other realization is we were not meant to be disgruntled. We were not meant to be discontent. We were not meant to live just distracted. That's not what was meant for us. We want to get back that part of us and become that whole human that was kind of taken apart, when we were younger and started building these self-defense mechanisms. So we have to look at the body, the mind, and the soul. So when we think about the body, in order to cultivate resilience and self-compassion, you think about regular physical activity because it helps reduce stress, eating well, sleeping well, all of those will give you clarity of mind and build resilience. Spiritually speaking, it depends on a person's core values. So if you're, for myself, I'm a person of faith, so prayer really works well for me. It might be meditation for others, spending time in nature, whatever it takes to connect to the Creator. We're looking for, we're looking for peace and for purpose. And then the last part of us, I'm sorry.
I was going to say we are out of time, Melissa. Thank you so much. For more information and to get a copy of Melissa's book, The Reality of Rejection, please visit transformativeconnections.net. Mitch.
All right. Thank you there, AJ. Good stuff. And then there's this. I want you guys, wherever you're doing, stop. I want you to watch the screen here because a fully autonomous AI robot raised a few eyebrows after appearing to grope a reporter during an interview at a tech festival in Saudi Arabia. Check it out. The journalist was speaking in front of a robot named Muhammad when the machine seemed to, touch her behind. The reporter quickly moved away from the robot, but not before holding up her hand and waving at it to just stop doing that. Jackson does the same thing. The company actually said the robot was designed to help perform tasks in hazardous conditions and help improve safety for humans. They say that the robot, they say it wasn't trying to grab the reporter. It was actually motioning her to step forward. Move up just a little bit, please, would you? That's my impersonation of AI.
After you.
After you, please. Okay, if a robot does that, who gets in trouble if it really was doing that? I want to find out.
That's a good
That's what's going to
question.
happen in the future if we don't stop these robots.
They've already had a lawsuit with the VR goggles in a video game where one woman said she was assaulted by another player within the video game, and
Holy
she's
cow.
suing that player for assaulting her within the video game in the viral world.
In the metaverse.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean, it's like layer upon layer upon layer.
I'm wondering if she has a case there because a half or if not more of when you get a physically abused, it's the emotional that goes along with it. So if you're seeing it emotionally, you're experiencing it. That's interesting.
crazy?
It's a whole new law. It's gonna be a whole new law like the internet was.
Yes.
Think about that. More Flash coming up around the corner. We are going to be checking in with Tony Toscano. He's going to tell us what's coming to your screen. A show called Perimeter. All that's coming up as well. I'll give you the deets on that. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. It is time to check in with Tony Toscano to find out what's coming out of Hollywood and straight to your screen, no matter what size you're going to watch it on. With the latest, here's Tony.
Thanks, Mitch. Entering its first season on BET is the family drama Perimeter.
We all make choices in our lives, never knowing how important each of them will be.
Hey, yo, Paige.
Look, stop.
I see what you're trying to get into. You met my boy Poppy, right?
Everybody calling you Poppy now? I mean, I kind of like Romeo better.
Can you teach him everything about the perimeter?
You keep to yourself, don't you?
Like to stay out of trouble.
Oh, well, good luck.
Set in the 1990s, a family tries to find connection despite individual turmoils and personal drama. The series stars Ava Monet and Tatiana Ali.
It's like a really provocative, I think, and enveloping story. And I hope that after people see these first 4 episodes, they'll want more.
I think that everyone who watches it can relate to it. Every character is so well fleshed out that there are things that every person can relate to. Even though this is a period piece, this is still very current, the issues that they are facing, whether it's Paige, my mom, anybody. I think anyone can relate to it. And I think, it's definitely going to take you back to the 90s with the fashion, with the music, with the way that we carry ourselves, and the setting is just going to bring people back to the 90s, and everybody loves the 90s.
Perimeter is a series with complicated family dynamics and complicated storylines to follow. Although the acting is great, but as with most first seasons, Perimeter needs some time to find its footing and rhythm. Again, it's streaming on BET and gets a C. It's not rated. Making their way back onto Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon, The Thundermans return.
Danger! Seek shelter! Won't some superheroes save us? Thundermans reporting for duty.
The film follows a superpowered family as they begin a new era of superhero crime fighting. But when one mission goes wrong, the Thundermans are sent back to their hometown to fix it.
This was really well done. It's sort of the Thundermans turned up on steroids, but not on steroids. And, you know, just everything's bigger, more special effects, more budget, everyone's back. It's just, I think it's going to create even more momentum and excitement.
I hope they like it. I hope they everyone enjoys it, and we get to do another one and keep making people happy and laugh.
You know, I think as artists and performers, we just want people to feel something. That's kind of our goal. And with this movie and even with music of mine, like my goal is for people to feel part of something.
Aimed at families, The Thundermans Return is a silly and fun, harmless romp with a few laughs. Check out The Thundermans Return streaming on Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon. It gets a B and is not rated. For the Daily Flash, I'm film critic Tony Toscano.
Thanks, Tony. Well, it's time for an all-new edition of Is It True? Now, we have all lived in cities that have some pretty horrible drivers. Me, I've lived in Orlando, LA, Detroit, Tampa, but by far the worst I have ever seen, and it actually has its own Instagram, and this is a true story, it's Miami. However, according to an article in Forbes magazine, they believe it gets this. Get this, it's Albuquerque, New Mexico has the worst drivers. The metrics were based on the number of people killed in fatal crashes, total numbers of fatal crashes involving drunk drivers, fatal crashes involving a distracted driver, and fatal crashes involving speeding. This was based on a per 100,000 residents. Now, Albuquerque scored 100 out of 100. Following those scores, right behind them was Memphis, Detroit, Tucson, and Kansas City. So I get the scoring, but does merging with no blinker count, veering across 4 lanes because you almost missed your exit count, stopping in the middle of the highway, just because, or one of my favorite tricks, the number of fingers being shot out of the sunroof while lighting a cigarette, blasting Barry Manilow. That is a true story. And now, Mitch, I know you've spent some time in Albuquerque. I haven't. So is it true they have the worst drivers?
I took a wrong turn in Albuquerque. Or was that Bugs Bunny? I can't remember. Actually, you know what? A lot of they have the most. I do know this. They have a huge drunk driving problem there. I do, and I've driven up and down that whole state of New Mexico, and I don't remember being crazy drivers, but I remember the statistic of drunk driving being the highest in the nation in that area. So
they scored the highest on all the major
Wow.
cities in the entire country, 100 out of 100, which I thought was nuts. And I've lived in the craziest cities, and you know, I'd like them to factor some of those other things in there.
Well, you know, especially if you're like Walter White driving around in one of those Pontiac Trans, whatever was that car he had?
Aztecs, Pontiac Aztecs. So I guess it is true they have the worst drivers.
I think you're right. Yes, it is true. Thank you there, Matt. We have more trendy news and entertainment coming up.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
I'm Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. We're kicking off this week, and we appreciate you joining us. We got a whole week packed with all kinds of trendy news and entertainment, including the show today. And I think I have something I'm going to put on the craft services tray for our camera guys. Because they have found out the best thing for a hangover is, believe it or not, a bacon sandwich. They're saying now, to me, I'd say bacon sandwich. Okay, all that grease absorbs everything, kind of salty
Protein.
Yeah.
You think that protein and all that, but they're saying actually it has something in it that boosts what they call amines, which actually helps create ammonia, I guess, which helps break down things. So
Oh.
they're saying that bacon sandwiches are the best. So if next time you get a hangover and you're looking to get besides the hair of the dog, maybe just grab yourself a bacon sandwich. Could help.
Is that
At
why
least a
they
little bit.
put slices of bacon in Bloody Marys?
I think so. I think that's why. Yeah.
A little counterproductive there, just to kind of help you ease into the hangover the next morning.
There's nothing bacon can't do.
No, I still swear by my liquid IVs though. Those things
The
are
liquid IVs.
lifesavers.
Yeah, he would give them. Yeah, they're powder. You put it in the water. Yeah, they're good.
I always found it was the Big Mac and French fries after a late night of drinking and waking up really hungover. That always seemed to do the trick.
You know what I love? Back on 420, April 20th,
Yeah.
restaurants. I think it was Taco Bell because they're kind of they called it the Munchie menu on Munchie. They were just like, look, this is for you potheads out here. We're gonna stay open late. We're gonna give you just this, what you need. But those late night, those like when you said Big Mac, and
Yeah.
those late night restaurants just seem to. That's the place to go after drinking, just to absorb all that alcohol, I guess.
Well, let's get things started with one of the more bizarre stories of
this
the
is
day.
crazy.
You might need a cocktail after you hear this one. But first, a warning, the video could be disturbing. A woman brought a 68-year-old man in a wheelchair into a bank in Brazil. She was trying to get him to sign off on a loan for her. The only problem, he'd been dead for hours.
That's crazy.
The woman wheeled the dead man into the bank and asked the teller to give her $3,200. Now, she's seen in video surveillance holding the pen in his hand as if to help him sign a bank slip. The bank staff decided to call police when the man's head kept falling back. The woman was arrested soon after, and the elderly man's corpse was taken away. Her lawyer tried to argue that the man died at the bank, but the coroner put his time of death several hours earlier in the day.
How do you think you're going to get away with that too? I mean, how did she think? I mean, and what people will do for money, I guess.
Yeah,
Claiming
right?
it was her uncle. So.
And it's her uncle, and it's only $3,600. That's not even a
no,
lot to
right?
go through
Yeah.
all that for that much. I mean, unless you're absolutely desperate. But
And if she would have done something like that, I don't think she was in the will.
You're right. I don't think she is.
I don't think you would be.
But for $3,600, I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot of money. You're probably going to spend some quality time behind bar. Maybe $3,600 is a lot of money in Brazil.
For
I
her,
don't
might
know.
be. Either way, just was not a well thought out plan at all. No. Wild video shows a student in Chicago fighting back against an armed robber. When we show this video, I want you to look at the guy, okay? You can see her actually take the magazine, that's the thing that holds the bullets, right out of the gun and actually stop the gunman in his tracks while others nearby do nothing. Look at this idiot, the blue. I'm going to call him that because we'll show you look, he doesn't even flinch.
Nothing.
21-year-old was one of three students from the university that was held up at gunpoint just that day. Video shows her fighting with the suspect, people passing by, that one dude just staring. 5 minutes before she was robbed, two other students walking on the opposite sides of the street were confronted by 4 armed suspects who robbed them before driving away. The university said all the students who were threatened by the robbers, unharmed, no word on the gunman had been caught. There's your police work. That guy could actually give a good identity for him. But here's the worst thing of all this as I think about this. When you are thinking about, I'm going to get me some money, I'm going to get a lot of money. Wouldn't university people be the student be the worst? You have no money when you're in college.
Kids that age don't even have cash anymore. What are you getting? Their credit cards that they're just going to turn off anyway?
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe they've got a cell phone, and they can use the cell phone.
I know, again, that's something that can be tracked.
Yeah.
It seems like you'd want to stay away from it at least, and
Don't
really,
be blue hoodie guy.
Don't be blue. That's what that should be the billboard.
Don't be
blue hoodie.
the guy that just sits on the lawn
Blue
and
hoodie
does
guy.
nothing. Oh, is he the
That's
blue
his
hoodie
blue hoodie guy.
Okay, I saw
Yeah.
the other guy in the hoodie too. The
That is a
suspect.
blue hoodie guy. Look out for blue hoodies. That's your best bet. Run away. Don't go too far though, because we have more flash after this.
In today's Healthcare 911, understanding if you have a certain type of inherited genetic mutation called BRCA could be the key to knowing if your family is at a greater risk of developing certain types of cancer. Here with more insight is Dr. Joanne Mortimer and her patient Jessica. Doctor, let me start with you. What is an inherited BRCA mutation and its role in breast cancer?
The BRCA genes normally function to help you repair tissues as time goes on, your cells die, they repair, and when these BRCA genes function normally, the cells repair normally. If you have a defect in your ability to repair these genes, these cells, you're at increased risk for developing a number of different types of cancer, including breast and ovarian, prostate cancer, pancreas, and even certain skin cancers.
Who do you think should get genetic testing?
You know, the current recommendation for doing BRCA testing is any woman who's 65 or younger who develops breast cancer. There certainly are variations on who should get tested, and you should discuss this with your physician.
I know this is one of the bigger questions out there. How can knowing your status really impact patient care?
Yeah, so the importance of knowing your BRCA status has several implications. You know, if you have a defect in the BRCA, if you have a mutation, then you know you're at increased risk for cancer. And although we can't prevent breast cancer or other cancers, we increase how we screen you so that if you develop a cancer, you find it at a very early stage when it's highly curable.
Jessica, you were diagnosed with breast cancer last year. Why did you decide to undergo genetic testing?
So I actually underwent the genetic testing some time ago, around about 12 years ago, when my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. So it kind of just, we didn't know what BRCA was. So we talked to her doctor about it, started thinking about our family history a little bit deeper. So my mom had the genetic testing done and she was positive for the BRCA2 mutation. So I also had the test done at that time. And then ever since then, I met with my doctors every 6 months, and I had screenings every 6 months as well.
And from your perspective, what do you want others to know about genetic testing?
I think it's just really important. And I know that some people can be scared to find out something like that. But it's really, really important to just talk to your doctor about it. You know, even if you don't have someone in your family who might have had breast cancer, sometimes people just want to know, you know, what their status is. So I definitely recommend talking to your doctor about it. If you have questions, concerns about it, or anything like that, absolutely bring it up to your doctor and, you know, just kind of advocate for yourself.
Dr. Mortimer, where can our viewers go for more information?
So, you know, you can always talk to your physician about genetic testing, but we have a campaign for BRCA awareness, and the website, which has a lot of valuable information about testing as well as individual cancers, is BeBRCAaware.com, and that's BeBRCAWARE.com.
You can find this full interview on our website at dailyflashshow.com.
Well, joining us now to share some insider tips on finding the best local trails is Brandy Horton. She's with Rails to Trails Conservancy.
When we get outside on the trail, good things happen. We move our bodies and we connect with our communities in really meaningful ways. We make big contributions to the economy, supporting small businesses and creating places where we all want to live. Across the country, millions of people get active outside on America's trails every day. There's over 41,000 miles of multi-use trails nationwide, with trails and connected trail networks in every single state. But 1 in 3 people still don't have easy access to the outdoors or safe ways to get around their communities without a car. And that's a big part of why Rails to Trails Conservancy, the nation's largest trails, walking, and biking advocacy organization, celebrates Trails Day on April 27th. It's a call for people across the country to get outside on trails and really showcase all of the impact that this infrastructure delivers to our lives. There's hundreds of events and thousands of trails for people to choose from to be part of that movement. Go to railstotrails.org and you can learn more about Celebrate Trails Day. You can get the app Trail Link to find trails near you, and you can find ways to get involved in this movement.
Spring is here, and our lifestyle expert Joanne Butler joins us with the best new buys for the season.
Hey everyone, so spring has finally sprung and it's time to spring clean your beauty routine for a fresh start to the new season. And as the weather gets warmer and we're spending a ton of time outside, a buildup of sweat and excess dirt on your scalp can lead to dandruff and other things. So to alleviate this uncomfortable feeling of an itchy scalp, you don't need a ton of products, just one good one. This is Head and Shoulders Bare. It leaves you with a fresh, dandruff-free scalp, beautiful hair without compromise. It's clinically proven to fight dandruff at the source. This truly is a simple solution. It's sulfate, silicone, and dye-free, and it's made with only 9 ingredients, the bare minimum, hence the name, giving you protection against dandruff, dryness, and itch. And it has the dandruff-fighting ingredient zinc Perithion, ZPT, which goes deep to fight dandruff at the source, but at the same time gently cleanses and refreshes your scalp and your hair. With continued use, the flakes and itch are reduced and scalp moisture improves. No matter your hair type, Bare can fight against dandruff with its 2 different formulas, Bare Pure Clean for oily hair and scalp, and Bare Soothing Hydration for dry hair and scalp. Plus, it smells amazing. Walgreens sells it at a great price, and you can get it delivered in an hour or pick it up in store in 30 minutes through the Walgreens app.
And now we've got a great strategy to help couples plan for their financial future.
New findings from Ameriprise show that couples agree on when to retire, even if they don't do it at the same time.
Only 11% of couples retired together, and nearly 2/3 staggered their retirement dates by at least a year. People don't always get to control their retirement date. Nearly 1/3 of retirees stopped working due to unexpected circumstances. Half chose to retire because they achieved a money or life milestone.
For all of the research, head to ameriprise.com/couples.
It's all about celebrating Mother Earth in the month of April. Here's beauty and lifestyle editor Joanne Butler with some great eco-savvy beauty buys. Hi, Joanne.
Thanks for having me. Well, let's start with our hair. If you have dandruff, there's a common misconception that anti-dandruff shampoos are harsh on your hair and scalp and make your locks lifeless, but that's not actually true if you use the right formulas. And with Head and Shoulders formulas, there's no compromise between using an anti-dandruff shampoo. It just leaves you with a healthy scalp and fab hair. This is their Head and Shoulders Bare. It's a new kind of anti-dandruff shampoo made with only 9 ingredients, carefully selected to fill the 9 rolls of anti-dandruff shampoo. It's sulfate and dye-free and gives you effective dandruff protection with the bare minimum, hence the name. And it's made with the clinically proven dandruff-fighting ingredient zinc perithione, which goes really deep to fight dandruff at the source and just cleanses gently and refreshes your scalp and your hair. And if you use it regularly, flakes and itch are reduced and scalp moisture improves. And no matter your hair type, it fights against dandruff with 2 different formulas. The Bare Pure Clean, which has a light coconut scent and is best for oily hair and scalp, and the Bare Soothing Hydration with an orchid and aloe scent, best for dry hair and scalp. These smell amazing. Now, if you're challenging yourself this Earth Month to incorporate less plastic into your everyday routine, it comes in this lightweight, rollable eco bottle that uses 45% less plastic per ml versus Head and Shoulders 370 ml bottle. And you can squeeze and roll it up and use it until the very last drop. The bottle and the cap are also fully recyclable, and you can get it at Target and Target.com nationwide. Now, next up, skincare brand Osana Naturals. This is their vanilla and coconut body wash and lotion. This is like a vacation in a bottle. It's an amazing dermatologically tested, pH-balanced, all-natural brand made with pure botanical extracts and mood-boosting scents with top notes of coconut and cotton and base notes of vanilla and cream that literally elevate you and just make your day and turn your shower routine into a ritual, basically. They're free from parabens, sulfates, phthalates, certified cruelty-free, super gentle on your skin, and just soothes and helps you unwind. And all of this beautiful packaging is recyclable and under $8. In fact, the body wash is under $5. The body lotion is under $7. I mean, look at this. It's like beautiful packaging. And you can find these right online and in store in the Walmart Naturals aisle. And there you have it. 2 beauty buys for right now that are not only eco-friendly, but economically friendly as well.
Well, the FDA has approved a new treatment for people who suffer from an unpredictable disease known as ISM. And joining us right now with more information, our Sukis Tip is actually living with ISM, and Dr. Pankit Vachani. Suki, I want to start with you. How did you feel when you were first diagnosed with ISM?
Well, my first symptoms and triggers were after a wasp sting, and I was terrified. So when I was diagnosed finally, I felt a sense of relief that I could work with a medical team and find something that would work for me.
And if you had something where you were able, like right now, have an opportunity to talk to other people living with ISM, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to do what I did and find a medical team that you trust, somebody that you can be honest with, and have a support system behind you, family, friends, and keep up with your symptoms and track them all so that you can share that information with your medical team, with your doctor.
And speaking of doctors, Dr. Vachani there, what is ISM and maybe some of those symptoms that Suki had mentioned?
Sure. Yep. ISM is a rare and chronic disorder. We think it affects about 1 in 10,000 individuals. It's driven by a genetic change in a gene called c-KIT. It's the c-KIT D816V mutation. It can cause a variety of different symptoms. For example, it can cause skin lesions, which can then also itch or flush, meaning become red or inflamed, but also abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, sometimes diarrhea. Also, brain fog and headaches are quite common in patients who have it. And then last but not the least, amongst many others, bone pain, fatigue, and having anaphylaxis episodes is another thing we have seen with ISM patients. In fact, Suki had many of these conditions when she was diagnosed of it.
And where could folks go if they would need more information on ISM?
Yeah, I would encourage that they go to avakit.com, both to learn the condition and the treatment. And of course, speak with their healthcare doctor and their overall team as well.
All right, and obviously get some of that new treatment that's out there. And thank you both for joining us. You can find this full interview. It's going to be on our website at dailyflashshow.com.
I'm Andrea Jackson.
I'm Mitch English, welcoming you to
Mitch English and Andrea Jackson have co-hosted together for over a decade. And now, only on Daily Flash, they serve up a fast, fun, fresh perspective on the day's trending news and entertainment.
Okay, so you want me to cancel the Will and Jada Smith celebrity roast? Okay, will do.
You'll be entertained with intriguing, informative, and engaging guests. Daily Flash offers the latest in pop news, celebrity gossip, fashion, health, wellness, and even some unscripted, irreverent, who knows what's next fun.
All right, I'm gonna pull a groin.
That's not what broke.
Daily Flash with Mitch English and Andrea Jackson. Trending news and entertainment. This is Tim. Tim is all about time, and if you've ever had a chance to look into Tim's cold, dead eyes, you'll see that it's time for you to follow us on social media. Sure, there's 10,000 social sites out there, and we don't have the time to name them all. Seriously, just ask Tim. So take the time to look for Daily Flash TV on your favorite social sites, and start following us. That's all the time, Tim. Goodbye.
I just realized something, guys. I'm going to take my jacket off to show you. If this was a short sleeve shirt, I'd dress like Forrest Gump today.
You totally did.
Can we pull down, Will?
Hey.
I'm totally Forrest Gump. I just need a short sleeve shirt.
I kept thinking, why do you look so familiar? What is it?
I don't know.
Like a box of chocolate.
We had so much fun with your wedding, Matt.
It was beautiful,
It was a
Matt.
Gatsby. Speaking of dressing up, I love dress-up events, and it was a
Beautiful.
Gatsby theme. It was fun.
That was all the ladies thing. But I will tell you, the seating chart was a disaster.
Really?
We didn't really have...
What seating chart?
Yeah, exactly. We didn't have a full chart, but we had reserved seats for certain family members and guests of honor and all that. And we talked about it the day before with the coordinator lady, and bless her heart. She just let it go, and half an hour before the wedding, obviously Leah couldn't help out with that, so I'm running over there. It's hot, and I'm like, look, why is my mom sitting in the back? She needs to be over there. Why are my aunt and uncle in another room? All these people are just like...
Why is Mitch by the bar? We told him to keep him.
Keep him over there. Like, no, nothing except beer right now. So that was like the most stressful thing, and then I forgot to do a couple other things, but like that just was like, I was like, oh, come on.
Those things will happen.
Yeah.
We didn't know. I mean, like as guests, we had to. Was Jackson and I supposed to sit together? We
didn't have. We kind of left it as open seating.
Oh,
we wanted people to
good.
mingle, but like there were about 4 tables that we made reserved signs for. That the lady that was coordinating it knew who was. I showed her pictures.
We sat at the reserved table.
Probably did.
Probably, I don't remember. It's one of those things that everything they tell you, every stereotype of the day, it's just a flash.
And all that matters is you got married. No one would have known there was craziness.
No
it was
fights,
more in your
no
head.
nothing. If nobody was too drunk, it was great.
That was great stuff.
It was great. It was very good.
It was a wonderful time.
Yes. Oh, you got it.
Wonderful
Thanks
time
for
to
the
have
invite.
y'all here as well. We want you to join us again.
Absolutely. Check out our website, dailyflashshow.com, for more information. If you've missed anything, you miss a lot, but you can catch it on the website.
All of our awesome socials.
Yeah.
Take care.
Be good,
See you when we
everybody.
look at you. Bye-bye.